Hi guys, Kaiser here, and welcome back to Age of Empires 3. Now for today's match, I want to share a little bit of backstory. See, one of the things that I love about Age of Empires is the community. Age of Empires tends to attract a more mature audience. It's rare that you run across people on the ladder who are angry, who seem to live to want to make your game experience sad. But every once in a while, you will run across that guy. The guy who wants to rub your face into the dirt. The guy who wants to make you feel terrible whether you win or lose. And in my AoE3 ladder experience, I happened to run across one of those guys. I was playing Sweden on the ladder, trying to practice my Sweden play, Karelian rushes and the like, and I ran across Scott Malkinson, playing as the Turks, the Ottomans. And he beat me. He beat me bad, but he didn't just beat me. Scott wanted to let me know that he beat me and that I sucked at the game. I barely deserved to live. You know, that kind of online player. So he beat me game 1, and as it just so happens, we rematched into game 2. Same civs. He's playing as the Ottomans, I'm playing as the Swedes. And, you know, again, I tried a different strategy, and he beat me. And he's letting me know how much I suck. You know, the different strategies, I'm off of the game, GG, uninstall, that kind of stuff, right? So, game 3. We happen to match again. And this time, he's playing as the Ottomans, and I decide to play as the Portuguese. I'm switching to a civilization that's much more economically focused. I can play them better in the mid-late game. And in game 3, I happen to win. I beat him. He blames it on a Civ matchup. The Caçadores beating his Janissary rush. And that leads us here into game number 4, where we happen to match up one more time. And see Scott here saying, yikes, you about to go 1-3. Right? He's gearing up for 3 wins, 1 loss. And you see here, I say mayhaps. I mean, my attitude towards these kind of guys is to not let them get under my skin. I think it's more funny than anything, or sad. You know, I'm not really engaging with him in the same kind of GG, you suck sort of way. In fact, I'm kind of trying to engage with him more than anything. Like, hey man, you know, I don't really know why you're acting this way, but more power to you. Good luck next, that kind of thing. And if anything, just sort of trying to, I don't know, make him realize in a roundabout way how silly he comes across. You see here, I'm saying, can we make a deal? And he's going to say, nah, I'm not interested in a deal, but I'll respond back to him like, can we just get rid of the whole GG, you suck, get good thing? Can we just kind of get that behind us and just play the game? Let's just have fun, right? I don't think he really takes to it, but that's the background. So this is one of those AoE matches where it's not just about the game. There are some stakes. I really want to tie this thing up. I want to go 2-2 against Scott Malkinson, my AoE3 rival here. So, with that background in mind, we'll pause from there for a second and actually get into the game as we're in the first 3 minutes of the match. Yours truly, Kaiser, in the red, playing as the Portuguese. And if we flip over to my Civ, pull up the decks here, you see I've got a pretty eco-heavy deck here. I've got Economic Theory and Feitorías, which, if they're both allowed to go off, can result in a really strong boom. I have some tools available to me to get up to the Fast Fortress pretty fast. I have crossbows as kind of a backup option. And a card that I don't think gets highlighted enough for the Portuguese is the Treaty of Tordesillas, because of their Age 2 card, Encomienda Manor. Settlers gather food from mills 20% faster, but gather from all other sources 5% slower. So, you know, it's kind of stings to make everything else gather a little slower, but being able to gather from your mills 20% faster is amazing, right? It means that you can build up a very strong economy, a very safe economy. And that's so important for the Portuguese because their whole thing, of course, is the multiple town centers, being able to run them, not to mention the units that you're producing, the technologies you're building. You need a lot of food as the Portuguese. So that Encomienda Manor is very, very useful. Now, Scott is going up with a trading post here. a TP. And his deck is interesting. He has Economic Theory, although he's not sent that yet. He went with a 3 Courier card. And his deck is actually also rather economic. You see here, he is shipping the 700 coin shipment right away. I think he has the options to go Fast Fortress. He has 3 Hussar. He has the Royal Fencing School card. But otherwise, a lot of eco cards. He's got Spice Trade. He has the 700 wood shipment as well. And in my experience, I've been streaming Age of Empires 3 on Twitch. You can check me out at twitch.tv/Iron Kaiser Gaming. And I have been learning that there's an incredible amount of power behind these 700 wood cards. It's been part of my learning experience with guys like Mr. Junior. And so I see he has a lot of really strong economic potential. As much as I'm kind of making Scott, or I guess Scott has really made himself the villain of this story personality-wise, I like the way he's playing the game. And as we're going to see throughout this match, he has some interesting strategies and play that is intriguing. Anyway, right now we're in the early stages, just a lot of exploring back and forth, and I think if this were a tournament match, we'd be paying very close attention to the treasures that the explorers pick up. We see Scott here is about to pick up 60 coin from the ginkgo leaves. You see yours truly meanwhile. I'm exploring, looking around, trying to find something. Happen to run, get caught by his Inuit scout. So Pierre Marquette and friend chasing down Ferdinand da Gama over here. But I'm in Age 2, and I am getting up a second town, or I got up a second town center. This is an interesting battle of 2 civilizations with different eco strengths. The Portuguese are able to mass up civilization, civ units like settlers, much faster than most civs. You see here, I'm saying, how long have you been playing? I'm just trying to engage with him, see if I can get him off of his, I don't know what you want to call it, his sort of toxic trend, but that didn't really happen. But even as I'm building my eco, I'm wanting to get some pressure out. So I have 15 musketeer, going to move forward, see if I can do some damage. So the Portuguese are able to mass up villagers rather easily thanks to their multiple town centers. As an AoE2 player, the idea of getting free TCs with every age is insane. In AoE2, only the Cumans can do that, and you have to pay a lot to make that happen. So for the Portuguese, for an eco-focused player, the Portuguese are a dream sim. But then again, the French also have a pretty strong eco option with their unique villager, the Coureur de Bois. We are going to see here. He sees the musketeer.
Oui.
And he's running away. But unfortunately for him, we see Coureur de Bois not moving. And the thing about a Coureur de Bois is they move faster. They work faster than your average villager. I don't remember the exact... Hold on, here we go. I want to see how many villagers we kill here. This stings, because every villager for the French, they train slower than your average vills. They do more, but that means every loss is worth it.
Oui, votre ordre.
So the Coureur de Bois, they're hiding. He is at 20 vills right now to my 23. That's really good. I think Scott is playing this economically very well. Or maybe I'm kind of lagging a little bit. As he's entering into Age 3, only 3 vills behind me, and those are 3 Coureur vills behind, so, I'd say he has an eco lead right now. Unfortunately, he had to pay for these militiamen. They're going to go down. And we see 4 vills called off. He says, OMG, stop! Leave me alone! But that's not happening. I'm going to try to take out all of these villagers right here. 25 vills to his 19 now. We're picking up. We're reclaiming the eco lead that rightly belongs to Portugal. And a covered wagon. I love this choice of politician. A very good play from Scott. He's going to build that second TC in order to try to keep parity with my town centers, because he knows I've got 2 out. I'm going to have a 3rd one for free. and he wants to try to make sure he doesn't fall behind economically. Especially with me putting pressure on him like this. Now with the bird's eye view, I should have moved south and disrupted these villagers. That would have been amazing. Unfortunately, I don't know that they're there. Could have scouted better. And we're going to see from Scott, he is shipping the 2 falconets there almost out. I wonder whether it would have been a good idea to go into melee mode and just attack these falconets and take them down and keep the pressure going. Either way, I decide to play it a little bit safe, and instead I back out. I think I'm giving Scott some breathing room, but I have done good damage. He's at 17 vills right now to my 30. Double the eco, and I'm on my way to the next age with the marksman politician, shipping a handful of skirmishers for free. I want to say the native camp that we have to keep an eye on. This may come in use later. The Jesuit missions. They have a Conquistador unique unit, which is like a Dragoon. It does area of effect damage and has more range resistance. So a really solid Dragoon-like unit. Although the Portuguese also get really good Dragoons. And then you have some really good unique techs, including one that's one of my favorites in the game, Smokeless Powder, giving all of your gunpowder units additional attack strength. So a really solid pickup there. Scott wanted to move forward, do some damage of his own. I want to complain a little bit. At this moment, I am a little scared because with all of the damage that I've done, he still has a point lead. And I don't... Maybe that's because he's in age 3 and I'm in age 2? Or maybe that's something else. I don't know. But I think the Vill count is obviously in my favor. I think I have more units on the field too, so I don't know why. The AoE3 scoreboard can be very deceptive. I have to ignore it more often than not. Scaring these villagers away. He's going to get some kills of his own. But I have Musketeer, I have Cazadores, and I am moving this covered wagon over to try to build kind of a forward town center. I want to claim more of the map before I send this Encomienda Manor card and train those super mills. Unfortunately, this was a greedy play. He saw the town center. I was hoping he'd win it, but he did. Those falconets doing damage. And probably doing more damage than they should have. I've got 3 Dragoons coming out of the stable. My thought process is I want to transition to a Skirm Goon composition. It's one of the AoE3 all-time classics. Skirmishers do a great job dealing with infantry units like cavalry. The Dragoons do a great job dealing with heavy cav and artillery. We see here the Dragoon putting in the work. Those cannons go down. And Scott's sort of forward military falls apart. Unfortunately, I swing down the south side and I'm going to miss Fort de Chartres coming in for the French. And man, at this moment, I am sweating. Because, again, I see he's up like at 1,700 points. How? How is it possible? The Musketeers here I'm really using more as a front line. The Cazador are the future. Cazador and Dragoon are the game plan for me. He's gonna, if he goes Skirmisher, my Cazador, if we take a look here using the better unit description, you see the Cazador have more movement speed and more ranged resistance. It is true that they have less HP than Skirmishers, but the ranged resistance more than makes up for that in a Skirm versus Cazador fight. So I'm not that worried about it. If he's going heavy into Skirmishers, I win that fight. So long as I don't get caught out by French heavy cav or something like that. And as we all know, the French never build heavy cav, right? Anyway.
See?
Pulling back. I don't think I've got what it takes. I'd rather pull back. And again, a tip of the hat to Scott's play here. He's building a 3rd town center. I'm on 2 right now. He's building his 3rd. And he has 30 villagers to my 36. So he has been doing a better job staying on his eco. And at this point, I think I probably still have a Vill lead. kind of once you factor in the strength of the
Oui.
Courrier de Bois. But it's not by much. It's basically even. So really good play from Scott here. So if we take a look at the decks right now, I've shipped both Economic Theory, the Fetorias, which allow my TCs to trickle in resources. It means it really stings that I lost that third town center, because I'd like that in the background working as a mini factory for me, but that's what happens when you risk the TCs like that. I've also shipped, I use these cards to get up to the next age quickly. I've shipped both of the Cazador cards, as well as the Dragoon cards. And this one, a card that I don't think it's used enough, but I love seeing. I think once I realized Fort de Chartres was there, I needed this one. The Advanced Artillery card. It ships a mortar and allows mortars and horse artillery to be trained in the Fortress Age. So that's normally, an Age 4 set of units. I get one for free and can then train the rest out of my artillery depot. Only 5 vills ahead. Although, I think, looking at the composition, like, Scott only has skirmishers on the field right now. I think he's hoping I go heavy into Musketeer. That's why I attacked him with early on. I think I left an imprint, the fear of the Musketeer in his head. And so now he's going all in skirmisher. It's not a hard counter. That would be like Hussar or cannons. But these Cazadors, they'll win that fight as long as I've got enough numbers. And he does have 25 skirms to my 18 Cazador, so use a little bit more. But here we go. Advanced Artillery's on the way. And we're also getting up an artillery foundry.
Preparato.
2 Hussar. That's not going to wipe out all of those skirms, but, it can be surprising. AoE3 fights can be very swingy. I mean, even 2 Hussar can knock out a big bunch of these guys, especially if they're distracted by other units on the field. So, never underestimate what a single Hussar can do in the right situation. In fact, I probably should send them forward and try raiding. Again, with this bird's eye view, I see a bunch of exposed vills here. 2 heavy cav raiding in the right spot would be worthwhile. We've sort of entered a slower part of the match. Everyone's just building up their force. A couple of dragoons. Something that I think was maybe helpful to me. Scott, he beat me in the first 2 games. A very effective Janissary rush with the Ottomans. But he was also just all in on one unit. He seems to be the kind of player that likes to just mass up a single unit and make that his play. And here, I mean, he's got a couple of dragoons, but for the most part, it's all in on skirms. And I think that leaves him a vulnerability. That's how I beat him in the last game. He went all in Janissary, and I was just able to counter that effectively with a composition of units. He did say in that match, by the way, and this will come up a little later, he did claim in Game 3, oh, I'm a Portuguese main. Like, when he saw that I picked Portugal, like, you just lost, I know this Civ way better than you do, I'm gonna crush you. And here, he makes a little bit of a mistake, engaging on the skirms with Dragoons. Now, if we notice, Dragoons, with their ranged attack, they do bonus damage against light ranged cavalry, like Dragoons. So you don't want that fight. Here we go. We have 4 organ guns out on the field. These skirms are going to get hurt. We're now down to 22 skirms versus my 16 Cazador. Okay, but between them and the organ guns, it's a good situation to be in. I am forcing the issue with my Age 3 mortar, knocking down Fort de Chartres. very briefly, let's take a look at the economic situation in the background. I'm picking up just shy of 800 food per minute, 450 wood, and 750 gold. Scott, 500 food, 500 wood, and what was something like 1,000 plus gold. I think he's just moved his miners around, so I think he had me on gold. Go. Cannon moves forward and gets knocked down pretty quickly by the dragoons. My artillery is still up and running. It is a hard situation to be in when you have artillery and your opponent does not. Fortunately for Scott, he makes the right call and brings out 2 Culverin. That's going to be nasty against my organ guns and my mortars if I don't deal with that. 20 dragoons, 16 Castador versus 32 skirms and 7 dragoons. But as long as he continues to engage me sort of halfway, he's not really bringing his full force against me. And these Culverins are not moving forward, so I think I'm doing good work here. Now, I move forward into the range of the skirmishers to try to knock out these dragoons. I should pull back now. Do not engage skirms with dragoons. Guys, what are you doing? Am I using them as just sort of a... I think I'm using them as a front line and soak up damage and Castadors will do work. But meanwhile, my artillery's caught out. Culverin's doing damage. These dragoons also doing damage. I need to move those dragoons north to deal with those Culverins. My mortar goes down. The organ gun's probably not long for this world either. 1 organ gun down. Culverin down. 2nd organ gun down. And... oh, fortunately, the Culverin fires on the cavalry, meaning that this organ gun stays alive. And here's the thing. Scott just lost most of his army there. I've got 2 more mortars out, trained those. It's part 2 of the artillery. Oh, is it the what is that, heavy artillery? Advanced artillery card. Fort de Chartres is no more. Now, even as I'm celebrating a big military win, okay? Team gunpowder infantry hit points increase. I guess that's like a card that I sent, I'm guessing. Where's that mine? Actually, double check that. Yeah, that's mine. So Musketeers, Castador have more HP. It's really nice when you're an infantry player. And I tend to like playing infantry. That's how I like playing. Although I need to play more cav. Anyway. So, even as I'm sort of celebrating this military win that I've got going on right now, Scott, he has 65 bills to my 68. And that's 65 Coureur de Bois, so undoubtedly he has a stronger economy right now. I'm moving into melee mode with my Castador. No, they don't have a strong melee attack. They have a very weak one. However, artillery, we can see here, have incredible range damage resistance. So you almost always want to go into melee mode and try to hit those cannons head on in order to knock them out quickly, even with something like the Kaiser. 20, 75% 20. Well, I guess in that case that would be 5 damage. I guess it kind of would be the same thing actually. For the dragoons, you definitely would want to do that. Couple of skirms, getting some shots off. But yeah, now it's time for me to put some pressure on. I'm trying to knock down this artillery foundry, keep him from getting out more Culverin, because I want to be able to bring in cannons in peace. More militiamen on the field. Because he has multiple PCs, he can call out a second and third batch of militia. I'm feeling pretty good though. When I see militia, I'm thinking he must be kind of desperate. I've got him on the back foot, right where I want him. The Vil difference has jumped up to a 7 Vil difference. He has 67 to my 74. And I am shipping in the Treaty of Tordesillas. I have one card in mind, and that is Encomienda Manor, allowing me to build mills and do a lot more with them. I can already build mills, but the mills are way more effective. Royal Musketeers have been shipped by the French.
Votre ordre.
Alright. So right now, I think he's still in this. I've not been able to do any real damage. I'm pulling back to kind of rebuild my force. I have 5 Orkan guns,
See?
8 Castador, 4 Dragoons. If he lets me, if I can do a lot of damage with these Orkan guns, you know, I could keep this gravy train rolling. And he's got another culverin coming. I don't like that. I really don't like it. That could stay. But notice how he's staying on skirms. Right? I think culverin, you've got to have culverin here. You probably want to go heavy into heavy cav. Yeah, I do have some dragoons out, but I think both of us, both players here, have more light infantry, the skirmisher, the Castador. And I'm pulling back. I think I'm a little bit worried about culverin popping, which indeed a culverin does. Or just getting flanked by cavalry. I've got nothing to really stop him.
Hey.
Cav. So I'm really trying to build back at home, and just, you know, the resources of the map are dwindling. I'm trying to get what I can before. Wait a minute. Where's the coin here? Do you see on the map? You see how the map says there's coin right here? Map, I don't see any coin. What are you talking about? Yeah, back at home. Okay, there's some coin. I really should not be building this mill, this estate. I'll call it a mill. Should be building this estate when I still have 2,000 coin, just sitting there. The map seems a little glitchy. Oh well. And again, you know, I'm just. At this point in the game, as I'm watching this, I am shaking my head going, I don't understand. I do not understand. He's up 3,000 points after all of the military damage that I've done. How is that possible? Fortunately, I'm getting more military damage in because I have Hussar out. I recognize that he was very vulnerable. He had no dragoons, going all in on skirms. I think he's got 3 musketeer, but that's not going to stop all of these Hussar. And here comes such a noob. You are a noob because you're beating me, and anyone who beats me is a noob, you know, again. Unfortunately, I don't want Scott to be that guy, but Scott's that guy. He deserves to win, you know, and anytime he loses, it's somebody else's fault. All right, you can't just take a loss gracefully. So he's feeling like, I say, like, you know, he feels like he's maybe losing right now. At least I assume that's what happens. Whenever I see a guy, you know, calling somebody a noob because the strategy is working, I'm kind of feeling that maybe it's GG. Organ guns moving forward here, alongside a bunch of Castador. And then these Hussar are just going to raid and thin out what was, I think he was nearing 80 credit one. And kudos to him, even as I'm destroying these buildings, he's throwing more in the back, trying to keep his production going. Good stuff. More stables. He may be realizing a little late how important those stables are. This is a really great situation I find myself in because I'm able to siege things down with the organ guns, which are kind of falconet adjacent, you know. The Castador, which are not the best sieging units by any means, but they're kind of knocking down these stables that are producing dragoons. So yeah, the skirmishers will do a great job against dragoons. Here's a big moment. The dragoon's going to move forward to actually attack the organ guns, and I think, I mean, it's a good play for organ guns, or for dragoons, but the organ guns do surprisingly more damage than you might expect. And unfortunately, the dragoons don't stay engaged in the cannons. They move on to the skirms, and they blow up. Now this is going to sting. I'm not so worried about the dragoons. I am worried about the cuirassiers. Cuirassier. They are like Hussar, but they have more HP and they do damage in an area of effect. So they're great against massed up infantry, especially light infantry, like the Castador. Instead, sad dude, he says. Yeah. Imagine playing the Portuguese. And he has the gall to say this. Like after he said earlier, I'm a Portuguese main. Right? And I was like, can you imagine playing Portuguese? Only a noob would play the Portuguese. So I come back to him. I say, wait a minute. You told me you main the Portuguese. You told me Port was your main. And I'm telling you guys, this whole series, I've just sort of been kind to him. I've been starting every match like, Scott, my man. You know, a little bit tongue-in-cheek, right? He says, lol, psych, what am I, a noob? And I'm sorry, he set himself up. He set himself up. I had to hit him with it. I said, yeah, I kind of think you are. And now I've really sort of I've raised the emotional stakes that much higher. I can't lose this now because, you know, you come at this guy like that and then you lose. As I'm losing my Castador force here, and the organ guns will go down too, I'm thinking to myself, man, don't tell me I'm somehow going to throw this. Right? I can't throw this. The scoreboard looks pretty good. 10,000 point lead. These Hussar have been amazing. I've not even upgraded them to the next level, but they did a great job thinning out his economy. I have 95 vills to France's 21. But still, I'm telling you guys, there's something about Age of Empires 3. I have lost games where I could have sworn I was so far ahead, I should have won. Scott says, congrats, you wipoed my eco and still suck. So he's not impressed. But then again, I really don't think there's anything I could do to impress Scott. I don't think he'd ever say, hey, good game, well played, you earned that one. That's just his way of communicating that, you know, that's his way of saying good job. Good game, man. You know, you really got me there. Because that's the only thing he could say in that situation. He's just not the kind of guy to give me the good game. I don't know. Like I said, he's doing well. I think he's played this very well, and even now, I'm a little worried. And I think he has potential to come back. Although, definitely his eco was wipoed, as he said. It's kind of a tough situation to be in, but he's got 3 TCs, which I think I also have 3 TCs at this point. We both have 3 TCs. Yeah. So, you know, he could come back from this if I give him breathing room. But I want to try really hard to make that not happen. And what I'm thinking, he just wiped out my skirms, and I'm he's thinking, I'm going to stay on skirm. But I'm making a tech switch. I'm marshaling forward my huge eco. And I've got 49 musketeer out on the field alongside a mortar, 2 organ guns. And he's going to make a move that I like. I think this is a good play. You know, sometimes the best defense is good offense. And he's going to move forward and try to find some vills. I have 16 vills on wood down south, and he catches them. I have 95 vills, his 33, and I'm about to lose a whole bunch of villagers. I'll admit I'm not that worried about them. I've got 3,300 food in the bank. I'm going up to the age 4 with 3 TCs. They are replaced pretty easily. Even so, you don't want to give up those kills. You don't want to give them that free XP. It does sting. It stings. And I send forward 5 musketeer. Only 5. I want to keep my main force, you know, positioned elsewhere. And I don't want to give away that I'm all in on musketeer. Yeah, and look at that. Ouch. That's 16, 17 vills that are down. Veteran Hussar. So I see Musketeer and Hussar. I've gone from a Skirm Goon to a Musk Huss combo. The Musketeer and the Hussar, I think, are going to be a really strong play. Especially when we see Scott. I think he has to. I don't think this is the wrong call. He sort of has to hope he can mass up the perfect counter. If I'm going all in organ guns, then I think this is a good play. You know, Culverin and Dragoon. That's a good play in that situation. He asks me, "How's that feel?" Really trying to get under my skin. You know, it's hard to do from his position, but he's trying. Here we go. I'm gonna loop around with Hussar. Musketeer, gonna move forward. And I'm also bringing along the mortar and the organ guns.
Prêt.
Those Culverin. Lol, he mad. I'm guessing he's reacting to the fact that I did not respond. How that feel? And right before my army shows itself, he's like, "Lol, you're so mad," you know. Get good scrub, and then I hit him with this huge mass of cav musketeer. And fortunately, I wipe him again. Lamau! He puts into all caps. And I think we've got this one in the bag. You're not really going to come back to this. And he hits it. He calls the GG. Well, he resigns. Again, he's going to hit me with a bunch of, like, "You suck, I can't believe you're so bad," you know, that kind of thing. And unfortunately, it was pretty late at night when we played these matches, so our series right now ends on 2-2. 2 for Scott, 2 for me. Who knows if we ever rematch and have a tiebreaker to see, you know, kind of who would win the best out of 5. But that was the game. I thought this was a really fun match. Actually, just the match itself I thought was fun. The back and forth between the Portuguese with the town centers, the French with their very strong cavalry, the Coureur de Bois, the eco bonus of their own. I thought this was a really fun game to spectate. But on top of that, sort of the drama and the behind-the-scenes story, the salt. I'll tell you, playing this game, the extra weight, like, you gotta try to win this thing. Don't give him a 3-1. And fortunately, I was able to pull it off and make it 2-2. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this. And Scott, if you're out there, man, truly, I wish you the best. I don't know why you gotta be that guy. I mean, from game 1, you're telling me, you know, you suck and things. What is it? Let me ask chat. Let me ask you guys this question. Let me know in the comments below. Why is it that people are this way? What is it that compels people to want to make their video game playing partners, opponents, feel bad? What is it that compels them to do that? Right? I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't know. Is it just trying to win and bring in that psychological level? Is it just, you know, he's my enemy, so I'm going to, you know, what's going on? I don't know. But I'm going to leave it right there for now, guys. I hope you enjoyed the game. I'm hoping you see some more AoE3 on the channel. I feel like we've been out of AoE3 for a little while. But I'm back both here and on Twitch. So make sure that you like the video and subscribe to the channel. And consider following me on Iron Kaiser Gaming at Twitch. For now, this is yours truly, the Iron Kaiser, signing off. Have a great one out there, guys. See you around.